Before we get started here, I'm going to make a couple of assumptions. And the first is that by now, you should be quite familiar with the Annual Review Millions story and my story, and as far as how this program came about and how long it's taken to get here. That being the case, there's no need for me to revisit all those 4 years in the making details and the history of the program and and all that background stuff, because by now you should be quite familiar with that. Now, the purpose of this today is to slice through all of the content that you've been reviewing about the Annual Review Millions system, to take all that content and boil it down into a simple 7-step process that Annual Review Millions brings into your business, of which results in you writing loads of additional new business revenue through your existing client relationships. And the simplicity of doing just that through this amazing, quick and easy 7-step process. And do allow me to add that there is no easier way, no quicker way on the planet for you to get out there and write loads of new business revenue than doing so the Annual Review Millions way. And by the way, your client relationships are the best new business revenue generating relationship you will ever have in your life, because you will never find what it is that you have in your existing client relationships in new leads. You will never find that in new leads. Recently, one of my subscribers, a fellow by the name of Mike from Georgia, I was talking with him the other day, and he says to me, "Mike, listen, you've put up some great information about Annual Review Millions. There's volumes and volumes and volumes of information that I've been reading about your system. But after reading all this, it just seems like this is going to be kind of complicated." And so what we're going to do here is look at how it works. We're going to look closer at the process of how it does what it does, and hopefully answer a few questions that you may have. So what I want to do here is draw your attention to the 7 quick and easy steps Annual Review Millions brings into your business that will have you running what will soon be a highly profitable back-end upsell revenue model in your business that, as a concept, is practically non-existent in this industry. But as a concept, is found to be the most profitable source of revenue in almost every other successful business on the planet, of which over the last 4.5 years has become a very refined, high-value service client annual review system, resulting in over 556,000 in highly suitable annuities per client. And also, before we get started here, what I'm going to do is dispel any perception you might have that this is complicated. And by the time we're done here, what you're going to find is that this high-value client service approach to writing mountains of new business revenue is much, much easier than any traditional front-end system like seminars, direct mail, or even referrals. This approach is the true nirvana of simple, multiple million-dollar, easy-to-do, highly suitable, massive new business production. And it's the ultimate savvy agent and advisor's way of keeping the edge in this highly competitive environment. And what's so unique about this is there's no marketing here. There's no advertising here. All there is a very unique high-value service that you'll deliver to your clients, to your existing clients, that they will absolutely love and absolutely love you for, which, through the use of this approach, positions you to write massive new business revenue with the best new business revenue prospects on the planet, and that is your existing clients. Now, if it is that the thought has crossed your mind that you don't have time to do this, okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, I recommend you rethink that perception and you find a way to do this, because this is where the revenue is. If you're not doing this, you're leaving behind a tremendous amount of revenue that another agent or advisor is going to get. See, where the real profit is in any business is not in the front end. All you have to do is look at most any other business model, Netflix, Blockbuster, McDonald's, and on, and what you will find are businesses that have perfected back-end revenue systems. And that is what Annual Review Millions is. It's the perfect back-end revenue system for agents and advisors. See, 80 to 90% of my reviews have resulted in additional new business revenue. And not only that, the cases I write this way are much larger and much easier to write than any front-end seminar or lead generation system ever invented. So, without further ado, let's get into the 7 quick and easy steps and what that looks like when you've got the Annual Review Millions high-value client service back-end revenue model running inside your business after having received the Annual Review Millions course and manual and listened to the audio CDs. Now, one quick thing I need to mention before we get into each of the 7 steps. You will notice that 2 of the steps are grayed out, and here's the reason why. In year 1, when it is that you're installing the system in your business and with your clients, you'll do each of the 7 steps. And moving forward, where you're doing subsequent reviews in years 2, 3, 4, and so on, the grayed out steps, steps 4 and 5, are not required because you've already completed them in year 1. Okay, so let's get into step 1, running the software. Now, the amount of time this takes is measured by, I guess, what you could call a mouse click. So, however long it takes you to click a mouse, that's how long it takes you to run the software. Do allow me to say a couple things about the software. As you're well aware, it's been in development for 4.5 years. Now, that doesn't mean that it's been in development for 4.5 years straight out. What I mean by that is, it would go into development for a couple, 2-3 weeks, and then it would be field tested. And then it would go back into development, and then we do more field testing. And then back into development and yet more field testing. All in all, I estimate around 300 hours of development has went into the software. And hiring a programmer at $120 an hour puts the price tag right around $36,000. One of the reasons that so much time has went into the development of the software is usability. I wanted to develop this in such a way that literally a 3rd grader could use it. And that is exactly what this is and how it actually turned out. What we've got is annual review software for dummies. No pun intended, no slight against anyone. I'm just using, the common for dummies acronym found on a lot of software books, down at the local bookstore. Because after all, I think ease of use is very important to you guys. And so that is what we did. And so it's truly a cinch to work. And again, that's important. And it performs the function wonderfully. So step 1 is run the software, and that will take you no more than, say, 30 seconds. Step 2, key in asset data. Pretty self-explanatory. What you want to do is grab your client file and just key in whatever the software asks you to key